The marriage was already cracking by the time Deacon realized how much Taylor's presence had begun to change him. What started as polite gratitude, her gentle concern for his sobriety, her quiet advice after another tense night with Sheila, turned into something else entirely. Taylor had the unnerving ability to look through people, to name the things they spent years hiding. Deacon didn't love her, not yet, but in her calm tone and steady eyes he saw a reflection of the man he once wanted to be. And that, for someone who'd spent half his life fighting his own impulses, was intoxicating. Sheila saw it long before Deacon admitted it to himself. She noticed the way he paused when Taylor entered the room, the way his anger softened in her presence. The realization didn't just wound her, it ignited something raw and primal. For years she had fought to be accepted, to be redeemed through love, and just when she had finally built a fragile world with Deacon, Taylor appeared like a scalpel slicing through that illusion. Jealousy became her shadow, but Sheila didn't rage the way she once might have. She had learned restraint. She had learned to turn obsession into strategy. It was during one of those nights when she sat alone in Il Giardino, staring at the half-empty wineglass across from her, that an idea began to take shape. She couldn't destroy Taylor directly, too public, too risky. But there were other ways to make someone bleed. And that was when Luna appeared. The girl had come to her by accident, though Sheila would later insist that fate had guided her. Luna was raw, trembling, and hungry for meaning. After Bill's rejection, she drifted like a ghost through Los Angeles, angry, lost, and terrified of her own fragility. Sheila saw all of that in her eyes the moment they met, the same need for power that once lived inside her. Where others saw a broken young woman, Sheila saw potential, a mirror, an heir. At first, she played the part of savior. She listened, she comforted, she told Luna that pain was proof of strength. "They want you weak," she whispered once, her voice low and magnetic. "They want you quiet so they can forget what they did to you. But you don't have to be quiet anymore." Slowly, Luna began to follow her, craving the certainty Sheila offered. Within weeks, the girl who had once wept in corners was learning how to weaponize her grief. Taylor, meanwhile, sensed the danger long before she understood its source. She noticed Luna's name surfacing again, rumors of her returning to town, whispers of her volatile state. But she underestimated the force behind it. Her focus remained on Deacon, whose emotional confusion deepened by the day. He told her he felt trapped, torn between loyalty and truth. Taylor tried to help him separate guilt from love, but the more she guided him, the more Sheila's paranoia festered. Soon, Luna was no longer just a wounded soul seeking guidance. She had become Sheila's instrument. Under Sheila's influence, she began to appear at the same places Taylor frequented: the hospital cafe, the church, even the Forrester courtyard. Each encounter seemed coincidental, each conversation harmless. But Luna watched, listened, memorized. She reported everything back to Sheila: Taylor's schedule, her patience, her moments of vulnerability. Sheila was meticulous. She wanted Taylor to unravel slowly, to doubt herself the way Deacon now doubted his heart. "The strongest people," she told Luna, "don't break in public. They break quietly, piece by piece." The transformation in Luna frightened even Sheila sometimes. The girl absorbed cruelty the way others absorbed warmth. When she smiled now, it was sharp. When she spoke, her words carried a weight beyond her years. "Why do we have to destroy her?" she asked once, almost curious. "Wouldn't it be easier to let her destroy herself?" Sheila smiled at that, proud and uneasy all at once. The student was already surpassing the teacher. As weeks passed, Luna began to test her own power. She slipped anonymous letters under Taylor's door, filled with fragments of her own therapy notes, details only someone close could know. She sent Deacon messages from an untraceable number, pretending to be Taylor's patient, insinuating inappropriate behavior. None of it was provable, all of it believable. The lines between reality and manipulation blurred. Taylor started losing sleep. Her instincts told her something was wrong, that someone was turning her life into a trap she couldn't see. But the psychologist in her kept searching for logic where there was none. She blamed stress, her own compassion, the lingering fatigue of years spent fixing other people. It wasn't until she found Luna's photo, tucked inside one of her patient files, its edges burnt, that she felt true fear. Meanwhile, Sheila's relationship with Deacon decayed under the weight of her obsession. He accused her of manipulation, of watching him like prey. "You don't love me," he said one night. "You love owning me." Sheila didn't deny it. She couldn't. Love, to her, had always been synonymous with control. The argument ended with Deacon storming out, leaving her alone in the dark. But she didn't cry this time. She simply turned to Luna and said, "You see? They always leave. That's why we make sure they never forget us." From that night forward, Luna stopped being merely Sheila's weapon. She became her shadow. They plotted in whispers, shaping chaos into strategy. Their new target wasn't just Taylor anymore. It was the entire web of people who made Deacon doubt himself. Steffi, who embodied the perfect family Sheila never had. Hope, whose compassion had once kept Deacon from slipping fully into darkness. Each one represented something Luna and Sheila despised: stability, forgiveness, moral superiority. Their first strike was subtle. Hope received an email from an anonymous source. Photos of Deacon dining privately with Taylor, time-stamped and edited just enough to look compromising. The story spread through Forrester like wildfire. Steffi, protective as ever, confronted Taylor about the rumors, and in doing so, deepened the rift between mother and daughter. Deacon tried to defend himself, but his hesitation betrayed him. Within days, the world they'd built began to crumble. In the shadows, Sheila watched it all unfold, her satisfaction tempered by something darker. Power, once tasted, demands more. She began to push Luna harder, encouraging her to step into the light, to manipulate, to provoke, to make them all fear the girl they'd once pitied. Luna obeyed, though her obedience was no longer blind. She had tasted control herself, and now she wanted more than Sheila's approval. The first true fracture between them came when Luna confronted Taylor directly. It was supposed to be psychological warfare, a confrontation designed to destabilize, not destroy. But something inside Luna snapped. She accused Taylor of stealing Deacon, of pretending to heal people while breaking them. Taylor saw the madness in her eyes and realized too late that this wasn't manipulation anymore. It was belief. Luna wasn't following Sheila's orders. She was following her own faith in vengeance. When Sheila heard about the encounter, she reacted not with anger, but with pride. "You've found her purpose," she told Luna, brushing a hand over her cheek, like a mother blessing her child. But the gesture made Luna recoil. "I don't need you anymore," she whispered. Sheila laughed softly, though the sound was hollow. "Everyone needs me eventually. Even you." From that moment, their alliance began to unravel. Luna started working alone, sending cryptic messages to both Taylor and Deacon, half confession, half threat. She told Deacon she could help him see who Taylor really was. She told Taylor that Deacon had been playing both sides. And all the while, she left traces of Sheila's involvement, framing her mentor in a game of psychological chess. When Taylor finally pieced it together, she tried to warn Deacon. "Luna's not your enemy," she said. "She's your reflection. She's everything you could become if you keep letting guilt make your choices." But Deacon was too far gone. He saw betrayal everywhere. Taylor's concern felt like pity, her closeness like manipulation. The web Luna and Sheila had spun had done its job too well. The final act came on a night of rain, when Luna returned to the same place where it all began, Il Giardino. She found Sheila sitting at their old table, a glass of red wine before her untouched. "You turned me into you," Luna said quietly. Sheila didn't deny it. "I showed you the truth. People only respect fear." Luna leaned closer. "No," she said, her voice shaking. "They only fear what they can't love." Then she reached across the table and took Sheila's glass, pouring it onto the floor. "You taught me to fight like you. But I'm not dying like you." By the time Sheila realized the danger, it was too late. Luna had already tipped off Taylor and Deacon, drawing them into a confrontation that would expose them all. Secrets unraveled in a storm of accusations. Deacon's infidelity, Taylor's buried guilt, Sheila's manipulations. Each truth struck like a knife, but none cut deeper than the revelation that Luna, the girl they had all pitted, had orchestrated the chaos herself. When the dust settled, Illinois Giardino was silent except for the echo of rain against glass. Sheila sat alone, watching as Luna disappeared into the night, her silhouette swallowed by the city lights. For the first time in years, Sheila felt something close to fear, not of death or punishment, but of irrelevance. Somewhere out there, her protégé was building a new empire of madness, one fueled not by love or vengeance, but by the intoxicating freedom of power unrestrained. And for everyone caught in Luna's web, Taylor, Deacon, Steffi, and Hope, the realization came too late. The true danger had never been Sheila's wrath. It was the legacy she'd left behind. The city glimmered with false serenity that morning, as if Los Angeles itself wanted to believe in redemption. The headlines were filled with glitter and promise. The Spencer Forrester wedding of the year. Hope Logan and Liam Spencer united once more under white roses and chandeliers, in a ceremony meant to wash away years of betrayal, grief, and second chances gone wrong. The world saw purity. They saw closure. But in the shadows, two women watched the spectacle unfold with an entirely different intent. For Sheila Carter and Luna Nozawa, this wasn't a wedding. It was a reckoning. Hope's dress shimmered like morning light, an ivory masterpiece designed to symbolize peace between families long at war. Ridge and Brooke clasped hands in a rare truce, while Bill and Wyatt, stiff in their tuxedos, whispered about legacy, reputation, and control. The cameras captured every smile, every teardrop, every promise. What no one noticed was the faint distortion in the background audio, static that fluttered like a warning. Behind the scenes, hidden beneath layers of security, Luna sat at a control board she had spent weeks preparing. Her fingers hovered above the keys, her pulse synchronized with the rhythm of the ceremony. Beside her, Sheila's reflection shimmered in the monitor's glow, her smile as calm as it was lethal. "They built this house on secrets," she whispered. "We're just showing them the foundation." Luna had rehearsed the plan 100 times. Every file, every image, every audio clip had been stolen, edited, weaponized. The goal was not chaos for its own sake, it was revelation. Luna wanted them to see what she had seen, hypocrisy dressed as heroism. Sheila had fed her that narrative until it became gospel. "They call themselves good," she had said, "but good men only stay clean because they bury their sins deeper." Luna believed her because she needed to. In Sheila, she had found what she'd been missing since Bill Spencer cast her aside, a mother figure who understood power, rage, and the way love turns to poison when unreturned. As the ceremony began, Luna's eyes flicked to the screen showing the live broadcast. Hope smiled through tears, her hand trembling in Liam's. It should have been beautiful, but to Luna, it looked like a lie dressed in lace. "He doesn't deserve her," she thought, remembering the stories she'd uncovered, Vinny's blood on the road, the cover-ups, the quiet manipulation of hospital reports that had saved reputations while destroying lives. Sheila's voice echoed in her ear through the earpiece. "Wait for the vows. That's when they're most vulnerable." Upstairs, unaware of the storm beneath them, Brooke leaned toward Ridge. "Maybe this time it'll last," she whispered. He smiled faintly, the kind of smile that belongs to a man who knows better. The orchestra swelled. The cameras zoomed. Hope's voice shook as she began her vows. The audience sighed. The moment was perfect until it wasn't. The first sound was a crackle, barely noticeable. Then the microphone cut out, replaced by static. The guests shifted uncomfortably, technicians scrambling near the stage. Hope frowned, looking toward the sound booth. Liam squeezed her hand. "It's okay," he murmured. "It's just feedback." But the static didn't stop. It grew louder, layered with something else, voices, distorted at first, then painfully clear. "Do you take this man," said a disembodied voice, "knowing he once left a man to die on the side of the road?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. The large screen behind the couple flickered, the soft floral backdrop replaced by a grainy video, security footage from years ago. A dark road. A broken body. A car speeding away. The voiceover continued. Vinnie Walker. Hit and left to die. Justice never served. Hope froze. The guests turned, whispers swelling into horror. Liam's face drained of color. Ridge stood, shouting at the technicians. Brooke pressed a hand to her mouth. And then, as if orchestrated by the devil herself, the footage cut again, to medical records, falsified documents, and recorded phone calls. "This," said the voice, "is what heroes look like when no one's watching." Sheila leaned closer to the monitor, her eyes glittering with satisfaction. Luna's hands trembled over the controls. Part of her wanted to stop, to shut it off before it went too far, but Sheila's whisper was insistent. "Don't you see it? They made you a villain so they could stay pure. This is your truth, Luna. Make them see theirs." On the screen, another clip appeared, this one from the hospital's internal archives. A doctor's voice. "If we alter the results, it'll look like she's the match." A woman's reply, trembling. "But that's unethical." "So is letting him die," the man snapped. The room gasped. Bill stood slowly, realization dawning. It wasn't just Liam on display. It was all of them. The Spencers. The Forresters. The Logans. Every lie they'd ever told to preserve their image was unraveling in front of hundreds of witnesses and millions watching live. Taylor, watching from the sidelines, felt the floor shift beneath her. She recognized one of the voices in the recordings. Hers. It was from years ago, when she'd altered test results to protect a patient she couldn't bear to lose. She'd buried that memory so deeply she'd convinced herself it was gone. But Luna had found it. Or rather, Sheila had. Panic exploded in the crowd. The ceremony halted, guests scattering as security rushed the sound booth. Hope stood motionless, her veil trembling in the wind. "Liam," she whispered, "what is this?" His lips parted, but no sound came. The truth hung between them, heavier than any promise. Downstairs, Luna pulled out the flash drive. "It's done," she said. But Sheila shook her head.
"No, sweetheart.
It's only begun." With a flick of her hand, she triggered the final sequence. The monitors went black, replaced by a single image. Luna herself, staring straight into the camera. "You thought you buried the past," she said. "But the past digs back." The feed cut. Silence fell. In the chaos that followed, no one could find Luna or Sheila. The authorities combed the property, the network pulled the broadcast, and within hours the wedding became international scandal. The press called it the day Los Angeles stopped smiling. Hope refused interviews, retreating into seclusion. Liam tried to reach her, but she wouldn't answer his calls. Bill moved swiftly to contain the damage, but even his influence couldn't erase what millions had already seen. For days, the city buzzed with rumors. Some claimed Luna had been caught on a private jet leaving the state. Others swore Sheila had been spotted at the docks, whispering about a next act. But the truth was murkier. In the digital age, exposure was irreversible, and that was exactly what Sheila wanted. She hadn't just broken reputations, she had dismantled the illusion that morality could survive power. Luna, meanwhile, was unraveling. Hidden away in a safe house outside the city, she replayed the footage over and over, her face illuminated by the glow of the screen. The satisfaction she'd expected never came. All she saw were faces, Hope's heartbreak, Lee's devastation, Bill's fury. She had wanted justice, but what she'd unleashed was carnage. Sheila, on the other hand, thrived in it. "They needed to be reminded," she told Luna, pacing the room. "They built their world on lies. You just turned on the lights." But Luna couldn't shake the feeling that something inside her had fractured beyond repair. "You said this would make it better," she whispered. "That they'd see who they really are." Sheila turned, her expression softening with eerie tenderness. "They did." And now you're free. Yet freedom felt like drowning. The more Luna replayed the chaos, the more she realized she had become exactly what they accused her of being, a monster shaped by other people's sins. She started questioning Sheila's motives. "Why did you make me do it?" she asked one night. "Because," Sheila said calmly, "you were the only one brave enough to." Meanwhile, the fallout from the wedding rippled through every family involved. Ridge turned on Bill, blaming him for not containing his son's arrogance. Brooke accused Taylor of letting secrets fester. Hope's world collapsed entirely, her faith in love, already fragile, shattered. She confronted Liam privately weeks later, her voice trembling. "Did you ever really change?" she asked. He couldn't answer, because deep down, he knew the truth he hadn't. He'd only hidden his flaws behind the illusion of virtue. Deacon, too, found himself at the center of the storm. When the medical manipulation scandal resurfaced, his restaurant lost investors, and his attempts to rebuild his reputation crumbled. He sought out Taylor for solace, but she was battling her own demons. Together, they sat in silence one night, watching the rerun of the ruined ceremony on a muted screen. "It's like the whole city's confessing," Taylor murmured. "We just didn't know who'd hold the camera." Sheila did. And she wasn't finished. Weeks after the wedding, another video surfaced online. This time, a recording of Sheila and Luna in conversation. Their faces were partially obscured, their voices slightly altered, but the meaning was unmistakable. The public realized that the entire event had been orchestrated. Suddenly, the same people who had praised Luna as a whistleblower began to vilify her. Headlines shifted from the truth exposed to the manipulator behind the scandal. Luna's sanctuary became a prison. Sheila urged her to stay hidden, but Luna couldn't. She slipped away one night, determined to face the people she'd destroyed. Hope found her first, standing outside the burned remains of the wedding venue. The two women faced each other in silence, the victim and the avenger, reflections of one another.
Why?
Hope finally asked. Luna's eyes filled with tears. "Because you all get to start over," she whispered. "And people like me never do." It was the last time anyone saw Luna alive. Days later, her car was found abandoned near the same coastal cliffs where so many tragedies in their intertwined lives had unfolded. No body, no witnesses, just a single note on the dashboard. The truth doesn't save anyone. It just burns slower. For once, even Sheila went quiet. Some believed she'd orchestrated Luna's disappearance to tie up loose ends. Others said Luna had finally taken control of her own ending. But in Los Angeles, endings were illusions. The footage